Daily Purge, identifying blind spots, one of my favorite things to do. That's what I do on a daily basis as a turnaround consultant and advisor. I find blind spots in companies. Most of the time, they're like, man, I can't believe I didn't see that, or why I didn't see that, or whatever. But, that's why we need advisors and coaches and mentors and stuff in order to find our blind spots. I mean, it goes without saying that you can't heal yourself, right? That's why you go to the doctor, right? You can't consult yourself. That's why you hire a consultant, that kind of stuff, right? So I wanted to talk about real simple today. Hey, Travis, Daniel, how you doing? God dang it. People write me like this all the time. That's what happens when you get 200 messages a day. All right. So here we go. Blind spots are obviously things we can't see, and it doesn't matter who you are. You have a blind spot in some area of your life. I guarantee you. You can have your life all figured out, be on top of your game, super in tune and aware, but there will always be a blind spot you need to deal with and overcome, period, right? If you don't become aware of that, it's going to hold you back, I promise you. You can grow, progress, and achieve, but eventually you're going to hit a plateau. And that plateau is almost always rooted in a blind spot. You don't know what you don't know. You ever heard that? You don't know what you don't know. So by merely knowing that you have blind spots, you're already a step ahead of everybody else. Hey, Chase, brother. Chase Hughes, ladies and gentlemen, worldwide bestseller, the #1 behavioral specialist in America. Amazing. Hey, Phoenix, how you doing? Morning. Good to see you. So when it comes to blind spots, you almost always need someone else to help you identify them. The person you permit to point out your blind spots must be on a similar path to yours and be more experienced or specialized in that specific area. A lot of people make the mistake of getting well-intentioned but unqualified people to help them identify their blind spots. As an advisor of over 20 years, I've seen how dangerous it is for people to get advice from well-meaning but unqualified individuals. So what do you mean by unqualified individuals, Stephen? Well, morning, Travis. How you doing, brother? Just talked about you with Lane. I heard you guys had a great weekend. Hey, Bobby, how you doing, brother? So who's unqualified? Someone who's giving you advice who hasn't done what they're giving you advice on. Someone who's giving you advice who hasn't been there and done that. Someone who's giving you advice that simply isn't qualified to give you advice. Like your mother. Hey, Joseph, how you doing, brother? Your mother, your friend, your buddy, right? You always ask your buddy for advice. That doesn't mean it's going to be good, but they'll give it to you, right? Who you ask for help has a lot to do with your purpose and identity. If you talk about identity, read the book Unleash Humble Alpha if you haven't yet. If you feel you need to let go of anger, your first instinct may be to ask people within your circle. The problem with that is that all those within your circle likely have the same anger issues as you do, or they see the world the same way. So it would be better to find someone who's overcome that issue already. It doesn't matter the subject, whether it's letting go of anger, business success, or blind spots. You may have whatever you may have. The key is to find someone qualified who's ahead of you in that whole process. So accessing the highest level available to you is the best practice because it shortens the learning curve, right? You're collapsing time. I always say this: if you want to get somewhere, find someone who's there and ask them how they did it. It's literally that simple. I've never had anyone who I've asked to be my mentor tell me no. I've approached 85-year-old men who are out of this world successful, and I've made them feel honored by asking. And that's what they say: Stephen, I'd be honored to mentor you. People love sharing their knowledge and wisdom, especially those successful ones, because they don't get often asked because everyone thinks they're untouchable. It's crazy how sometimes you don't know what people think about you until you ask them for help. Yes. What's up, James? How you doing? Must have tacos. Yes, Travis. Amen to that, man. What's up, James Phelps? All right. Anyone who has knowledge and success will always share it. But if you're looking for quick solutions for your problems, you aren't looking for a mentor. You're looking for an advisor, or what some people would call a coach. A mentor holds a mirror up and says, what do you see? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? If you look through time, you'll see a chain of mentors linked together. Everyone's connected somehow. As you move forward and continue to validate your purpose in life, finding a mentor is a great way to help you identify your blind spots. After experimenting and validating, you'll still likely have things you need to work out. I mean, we all do, right? If not, then you're done. And if you're done, you're probably dead. So if you need a course correction, a mentor can quickly guide you in the right direction. When a person who's 50, 40, or 30 years older than you with a great deal of experience sits across from you, they'll ask you a question and reveal your blind spot just with one question. Suddenly you're like, oh, I see it. I see it. You don't know what you don't know. If you aren't humble enough to take it and run with it, to experience it and embrace it, then you're not there yet. These people are there. Me personally, I mentor about 6 people right now, and I'm pretty hardcore. I tell them how it is. I tell them I help them collapse time, see their blind spots, and move forward more quickly. Collapsing time is essentially taking something that would typically take a long time and shortcutting the solutions from someone who has that experience and can lead you through that minefield. You have a blind spot. Big deal. You didn't know it. Now you do. No one knows everything. That's it. Don't get all wired up in it, right? Yes, love.
Nothing.
Okay. When you look at your blind spots, be humble enough to accept them. No one likes to work with, partner with, or coach individuals who act like they're perfect and know everything, including us, which is why we don't accept them into our programs in the first place. If a person says they know everything, we advise them to come back when they realize they're not perfect. We are the first to tell you we are not perfect. Any individual who works with us has to believe that together we can be much better than we are as a single unit. Identifying a blind spot can have an immediate impact on your revenue. And these blind spots are incredible. When I have clients and we're talking in seconds, when I see something, like, it's just simple things. And suddenly they're like, man, we just increased our revenue by 30, 40, 50, 100%. Just from that one suggestion that you gave. We had a call today, Elaine and I. And he said, you told me to do this. You gave me that suggestion to do this. And I went on a 3-state tour and I did that. And man, it's incredible. We do what no one else does anymore, just from that one suggestion you gave us. And their revenues jumped. They did, I wrote it down somewhere. They did like 700,000 last month, 1.4 this month, and they're going to do 2 million next month. That's growth. And that's not only from one, but primarily from one suggestion, one beamingly obvious suggestion from me, but they didn't see it because they don't see the forest for the trees because they're knee deep in whatever it is that they're doing. So, these are the kind of things we're talking about. That's why it's important to dig deep and realize, look, I don't have it all figured out. And if everyone thinks you have it figured out, and everyone you talk to thinks you have it figured out, and everybody's giving you accolades and stuff, you need to find people who don't know who the hell you are, right? You need to find people around you that like, who's this guy, right? Then you got to start over. Who am I? What's my identity? Because what happens when you get famous or well-known, you're what do you call it? Shoeboxed. Everyone thinks of you as that person. Well, that's just a part of you. That's not all of who you are, right? That really isn't all of who you are. And that's some of the things we got to look at, Oh, Lord. If you could see everything, you wouldn't need help, right? You wouldn't be stuck. We need to identify blind spots and overcome them continuously. When you identify your blind spots, you face a storm inside of you and you calm it. That's what you do as a humble alpha. That's why we wrote the book. You won't get a reward for doing it or a badge that says, hey, I check my blind spots, even though you could get a t-shirt probably, I check my blind spots. It's just going to be who you are then, right? When you get into the habit of identifying your blind spots, you get into a position to what? Amplify your purpose. Boom. And what does that do? That amplifies your identity, which creates presence, that massive presence we always talk about. And this sounds all nice and hokey and stuff like that. But if you break it down, how to identify my blind spots? First of all, you got to realize that you have blind spots. Second of all, you got to be humble enough to accept the feedback from a mentor, coach, or an advisor, right? And then what? Implement. It's that simple. So what? You got a blind spot. Big deal. Find it, fix it, and move on. What it's all about. You know what that does, right? That creates that ever massive, that one thing we all seek. And that one thing that's all about quality of life. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic one.